Well, welcome back, season 2.
Oh, season 2.
Of the melting pot. We got an upgrade.
Oh, no.
Hey, upgrade.
Right, it's not my kid's toy room.
This is a production set.
Yeah, you know that's right.
We went
We got
upgrade.
the X-Fighter back there.
Well, I got like $1,000 behind me right now, but you know.
Right.
Hey,
Hey, shout out to all our sponsors
Oh yeah,
for
that's right.
the new setup, Little Millers.
Little Millers
Yes,
coming to you. Hazel, let's talk about last night, bro.
Bruh.
Pastor Jireh
night.
preaching a great message,
Oh,
bro. You guys gotta
Raja.
go. Here's a little screen snap of him preaching on the stage there. Boom.
Oh, making me do more work.
That was
Yeah,
good.
you did good. He's also the editor.
I gotta go screen record YouTube now. No, yeah.
A B-roll of you just being funny now.
It was good.
Yeah, you did good, man.
Thanks,
Talking
guys.
about marriage, and that was
What a
great,
sub,
bro.
Ooh, celebrating
about-
12 years.
Dude, tell us. Oh yeah.
12 years of marriage. And,
I've been married 15. How long you been married?
We are at 7.
Okay, 7
Yeah.
to 15. I win.
Come
Just so
on.
you know.
All right.
Oh, and that'll be 16
competition.
at the end of this month, July 31st. You know that's right.
Oh, July. Oh, you're married July too.
July 31st. When did you get married?
July 12th.
Oh my gosh, you guys! I
Yeah.
performed his wedding, and I accidentally called his wife Jenna,
Hey, it's all good.
which her name's Jenny.
Yeah.
And one of the 100 times saying her name in the course of the. Yeah, I felt really bad.
Hey, you got the first part right.
Yeah.
Jen.
I've been one where the bride was Samantha, but the pastor wouldn't call her Erica because that was the last wedding he did.
Oh,
He was still at the last
he used
wedding,
the
right?
same notes and never changed his
Yeah.
notes. Hey,
And he wasn't at the wedding rehearsal.
ooh,
So I was like,
ooh,
That's
that
kinda
could
rough.
happen.
how embarrassing
That
was
is-
that? Had an awesome opportunity to preach and share at our church. Kings Maui, shout out Kings Maui.
Shout out Kings
Pastor
Maui.
Josh and Shannon Morocco, Rabbi Jipish, Korean fried chicken.
I guess Zippy's get hey,
Hey.
we take on sponsor Zippy's.
Hey, Jipish,
Yeah.
I need that Korean chicken.
You know,
please.
that's
We
right.
put some the kind, apple,
Wait.
Bruh, I just do the regular fried chicken mini, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She go.
He's good.
Not for me. Anyway, tell us the story.
Yeah. So I got assigned to preach Proverbs 15, and
Oh, yeah,
as I was reading, I was like, oh, this has a lot to do with marriage. You know, right off the bat is soft answer turns away wrath.
Oh, you know, that's right.
And I'm like, oh, my wife.
She needed to read that. No, it's true.
The wrath I will experience. No. So, you know, I was hesitant to honestly share about marriage because normally what you preach on, the enemy likes to test you on it. You know, like he test you like, man. And so I was like, all right, you know. But I always thought, okay, obedience is the ultimate
Yeah,
test.
that's exactly right. That was exactly what I was going to say. Right? You
Obedience
just
is
obey
the-
what the Lord tells you to do.
So-
Doesn't matter what happens from that point.
Yeah. So I'm always nervous going public speaking and
Yep.
whatever's, but you know, because I always want to just honor the Lord and honor those who giving me an opportunity and and the people who taking their time to come out and receive, who are really needing, you know, some breakthrough and healing.
Right.
And I think that happens a lot in marriages. People need breakthrough and healing and amongst other things, you know. And so I was obedient to the Lord and I preached on healing and on marriage, and obviously I asked my wife's permission about the things I shared, you know,
Sure.
because we shared about some
Good man.
some stuff, you know, especially about counseling, and which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But after service, I had a friend of mine who I knew from elementary, Kahului elementary days, and my friend, they don't come to church, our church,
Yeah.
but we have a board outside on the corner in front of the fountain.
Shout out the Rita
The
boy.
Rita board.
Rita boy.
Shout out the Rita boy ministry.
Like,
Hey.
talk about analog.
Keeping it old school.
all the schools get LED screens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we
Don't
get-
get me started on that.
We get one ladder and some letters. Gotta no more autocorrect over there.
Thing is about-
Gotta spell them right.
all the time. all the time, all caps.
That's funny. I just took a picture of that. I'm gonna put them up.
That's funny.
So my name was on there, right? Jireh Urmanetta, Wednesday, 7 p.m. And so this person came up to me after service, and they said they saw my name on the board and came because of it. And so he came to church, and after service came up, followed me, and he was crying.
Oh, wow.
He was crying because that was exactly what he needed to hear.
Wow.
Man.
Because he just filed for separation with the spouse just 2 weeks before. And because he saw my name on the board, don't even come to church, they haven't been talking to me in forever, but came, and it was exactly what they needed to hear. And they were encouraged because they were against counseling.
Wow.
And they were definitely doing the things I said not to do, like not to talk to your family members about your marriage dramas,
That's a big
which
no-no.
we'll talk about later.
Yes, we will.
But because they came and they heard what was said, they were encouraged to call the pastor that married them and work on the marriage, work them out, and get counseling.
That's good, man.
Especially it's hard because they also have multiple kids together.
Yep.
And it's like, man,
It's tough.
the truth is, there's nothing beyond broken that God cannot heal, you know, with the marriage.
I mean, that's like a big thing with
Yeah.
the enemy, is to try and destroy marriages, man.
Oh,
And-
big time.
And like, there's so many different dysfunctions that we've had to work through, you know, in our marriages. But to know that other people, like when you bring up those stories of you and your wife, as you did in the message, you know, that is like, it's kind of a comfort to people to know that they're not the only ones going through stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And the big thing that stuck out to me when you first you said the story to us was that, you know, they were talking about going to your family to talk, to vent, yeah?
Oh, man.
And how destructive that can be. You know, me and my wife go get in a fight, and then the first person she goes to talk to is her mom, and tells me that I'm a piece of trash because she's upset with me, right? Mm-hmm. And then what you said in your sermon last night was, yeah, you go and talk to your mom, and she gets all riled up and upset at, you know, the spouse, and then you go back and make it up with the spouse, but they were not there for that forgiveness, so they're still hanging on to all that anger
hurt, yeah.
or whatever that, you know.
And how they see your spouse now. And
Exactly. And so they're not there for the forgiveness and the healing part.
Nope.
And even though you're good with your spouse,
exactly.
again, they're not.
Yeah.
Right? And
Hey.
so that's what he was saying, right?
Yeah.
Is that
He was saying that they were doing stuff like that too, and they never realized, because you know it's your family. You let go to your family, and they're your safe spot, and they're gonna have your back because you know they're your family. And,
Right.
But that's what happens, and so. But I knew from a young age, with my Filipino mother, if I wanted the world to know, I'm gonna tell her. Okay.
So, like, you know,
So I knew I can trust you. No. I trust you, but just. I'm not gonna talk to you about my spouse.
and
Right.
it's your responsibility, right? As a husband, as a son, to protect your relationships, right? Like
you
what you
gotta
were
do
saying
that.
last night. You protect your relationship with your wife. You protect your relationship with, you know, your family, and part of that is telling them what they need to know and not telling them what they don't need to know.
Yeah, you know, it's really you got to guard what you say. I think
You really
know?
do.
It's not that you don't love your, like for me, it's not that I don't love my mom or my in-laws, you know, but I'm also not going to go to them with those things. Now I'll go to a brother in Christ who's walking with me on a daily basis, and,
Right.
and I'm following up with it. I'm going to tell him, hey, there was forgiveness, you know,
Yeah.
and we prayed. If I need that,
Right.
most times I don't. You
Right.
know, you're just making sure that you just go through the. Number one, we just try not to let the sun go down on our anger, and we deal with stuff as soon as we can. And
Absolutely.
if we can, it's 3 a.m. and we got to wake up at 5. Then it's, you know, we got to say, hey, we agree to disagree. I love you, and then we go to sleep and pick it up next day.
Yep.
But you know, sometimes I don't. To be honest, I can't even tell you the last time I talked. I don't think I ever have really run to my family. But that's because I was taught by, like, you know, our pastors above us, Dr. Morocco, Pastor Josh, and Pastor Daniel just taught me, you don't do that. You
Right.
don't go run there unless it's positive.
Yeah.
You know, it's positive you go there.
And I think that those are one of the things that, you know, as you become, you know, Christian and those things are taught to you, you know what I mean? Because people out in the outside world, that's just one thing that they're going to gravitate to. They're fighting with their spouse. My family's got my back.
Yeah,
You know, like
Right.
what you're talking about. So why wouldn't I go to them? You know, but knowing that you need to protect all of your relationships, and it's, you know,
Well, you know what occurred to me when you were preaching last night is that people generally need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
if there's not a healthy dialogue between you and your spouse in that disagreement, you can't talk to them.
Right.
And here's the thing, is a lot of people, they think while they talk. And so in order for them to process a situation, they go and talk to somebody else. And then the relationship is, as you pointed out, is tarnished.
Yeah.
You know, and there's not that forgiveness, and even though you have it with your spouse, it's not on the other end. And so that's very destructive. But yeah.
The women tend to do that.
Yeah.
They think while they talk. And that sometimes you gotta kind of decipher, okay, I think she's just working out this and she doesn't really mean that, and she's,
Which is good marriage
Yeah.
advice in itself, to
Yeah.
just shut up and listen to your wife. She
Yeah.
doesn't want you to solve stuff. She just wants
Right.
you to listen.
Yeah.
processing.
And
for
I don't know about
sure.
you, but I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to help you with that. She didn't even need me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She just
you
needed to
hear.
talk.
Yeah. Right. She
You know,
just
which is why men and women. I know men that. I think sometimes I'm talking and processing things
same.
as well.
Right.
So I wouldn't say it's just women. However, they get the bad rap for needing
Right.
to use 40,000 words a day or whatever, right? Yeah.
It's true. But what's hard is deciphering, like, okay, she's working, she's processing, and not taking it personal.
Yeah.
Right? You're like,
Right.
oh, that's what's hard. And it's kind of like, you're the only one that she can kind of vomit on and be that safe place for her to vomit on
yeah.
without taking it personal, you
Yeah.
know? But, like, I'm not saying don't talk about the thing she's saying if it's hurting you or not. Like, I had to say, okay, do you really feel like I do that, and process back, like, did you mean that, or were you? She's like,
Or
no.
you just saying it?
No, sorry, I should have not have said that. Leave that space for your spouse to kind of correct or ask for forgiveness.
And a lot of the times, like, especially in early marriage, you don't realize how much that you need to grow together. There's so much growth that needs to happen in the beginning of a relationship to you being, 40, 50 years down the road. Like, you're going to learn so much about yourself, about your wife, about each other.
Which is why we took a little while before we had kids. You
Right.
know, it's because we didn't know what we were doing,
Right.
really, and trying to get to know each other before we introduced something else.
Which is
Another
responsible.
child, which is, but some people don't have that luxury.
Yeah,
And
true.
some people started off maybe on, quicker than they thought, or on the wrong foot,
Right.
or whatever. And then working through those dysfunctions, the baggage that you talked about,
Oh,
you
man.
come in with a Filipino perspective
Oh,
versus I don't know. Obviously, she's more Howley, but coming
bless
in
the
with that,
Howleys.
Yeah.
But
yeah, for real.
different worlds colliding.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
That's why it's
like you
good to
said,
get
working
marriage
it out.
counseling before you get married.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got-
absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't think I think sometimes we think of marriage counseling as like I'm sitting down on a reclining chair and I'm just
That's
sharing
true.
my thoughts.
People
but
think like that,
it's
yeah.
not always that. It could be as simple as going to coffee with your pastor, going to coffee with
Yeah.
somebody who's been married for 30 years,
Right.
who's walked through a few things and isn't going to judge you for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, what's good is that through those kind of things and meeting with people who have been there, is they ask questions you normally wouldn't think of.
That's true.
Yeah.
But that can come from anybody,
Right.
If they know that what road you've been down and help you discover that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's got to be someone that's trustworthy and respectable, and I would say godly. Although I'm sure there's great, people out there but I would definitely
For sure.
point you towards a godly person.
Yeah. Like I do, normally when I marry people, when I officiate, I'll do marriage counseling with them. And some of the questions I bring up that get the gears turning is, so what is your expectations of your fiance
Dude,
when it
that's
comes
a
to the house?
loaded question.
Like, do you expect him to be a handyman? Do you expect him to do the yard? Like, me, I'm none of those things. Like, for the first time this year, I used one weed whacker in my yard. And what I did after 30 minutes, I went and call somebody for doing my yard,
Dude, when you were talking about your wife's garden last night, I thought
Yeah.
you were going to tell that story, bro. Of you yelling out the window. Tell her what you did to your wife. Tell her what you did to your wife, dude.
So my wife, she loves to garden. She make like eggplant. Like, it's really impressive. But sometimes I'll see her garden. I'll go out the window, and we live in like a 2-story house. So I stick my head out the window and I yell at my wife so my neighbors can hear. I go, "Hey, You cannot grow that. That's illegal. No more prescription for that.
What you called?
Yeah, so you were naming off all the vegetables last time. I was like, and what else?
I saw this guy. Whoa. I saw him mouth out. I was like, no. I was like, for sure, Pastor Josh gonna call me. Like, hey.
Wrong house.
Don't say
House
that.
to the left.
Too much, dude. Too
It's
much.
not Monday night. Come on
So
now.
what's the wildest, maybe good or bad advice you got for marriage?
Oh, okay. I got one. I tell you what, them Filipinos, they like to milk everything. The bridal shower, bachelor party. We had one godparents dinner. Just for with our godparents and me and my wife for them to give us advice. And I was like, bro, this is weird. But
Weird.
I don't remember the rest of the night, but I remember my cousin, he came up and he said, sometimes my wife will put my things where they don't belong and where I don't want them to be put. But instead of saying, hey, this doesn't, or like, why'd you put it there? Or that's not where it goes, is I have to remember about her intention to help and love me. And instead of, even though she's not doing the way I want, I have to say, hey, thank you so much for doing that for me. And that seemed like that was weird advice. And now, being married, I realize how selfish I am.
Yeah.
And how we come into marriage with our preferences because we've been living with ourselves and for ourselves for our whole life. And now there's this whole nother person involved in your schedule, in your space, in your private time. Like, come on, your spouse can see everything. And I found myself going, whoa, that saved me a lot of heartache or like hard arguments over being selfish, just because I learned and I was taught, like, oh, just remember her intention was to help, instead of me being irritated, like, wow, that's not where you put my shoes, or like, where you put my keys, or like, things like that. And it's just for those of you listening right now, you may like not think that's a big deal, but in marriage and when you live with somebody, it's it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah. How about you? Anything come to mind? I got one if you don't got it yet.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm at this now. This is not like, this is wild advice, but I heard it at a wedding, okay? And I'm at the wedding, and the father of the bride gets up, and he's like, now listen, when you get upset with each other, and you just can't figure it out, and you're so irate that you can't handle it, both you, here's my advice. Get butt naked. Instantly over. I was like, did the father of the bride just say this in front of 200 people? Straight up. Dude.
This is marriage argument. That's not applicable to.
No, marriage argument.
Okay.
Yes. Marriage. What would you think I said?
No, I'm just
Like
asking.
any argument?
just making sure.
We're talking about marriage only. Yeah, he's like, yeah, you won't be able to focus so much on it. Not maybe for the man, but the woman will hold definitely. But that was his advice, and I was like, only in Alaska do you hear this type of stuff.
Wow.
Only in Alaska.
Wow.
That's funny.
Crazy. Now you wouldn't say
Man.
that over the microphone at church, probably.
I mean, I know for a guy, like, I'd be like, what are we fighting about
Visual.
again?
Yeah,
Right,
what-
visual.
Well, but for a girl who feels like
Well, that's what I'm saying.
upset,
Yeah.
like she probably gonna feel ugly in your like oh, my spouse doesn't
Yeah.
find me attractive, he's mad at me, and blah blah blah. And because like body language, normally what happens when you get into disagreements is they'll close up,
Yeah.
right? As a
Close
sign
off.
of
Yeah,
like
that's
trying to
Move away.
be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you can think of?
Whew. Not anything crazy. One of the things
No,
that
give us the crazy.
Give us the
I like the one
Yeah,
at
actually,
your wedding,
though-
your wedding
Give us the
reception. Your
jam.
uncle, hey boy, come here. I like tell you something. I like no that and like tell you something. Me and your auntie.
Oh, I don't like hear that one.
This is what made us successful. I like hear that one. Me and your auntie. All right.
So me and my wife actually we got married before we were saved.
Okay.
So things are a lot different back then. everything was different back then.
For sure.
But one of the things that someone said, it wasn't crazy. To me, it was like I was still stuck in a place where I was like, I'm the man of this house. Like I run everything that goes on here, you know. So it was actually one of my uncles, and he was like, "Hey, boy, I'm gonna give you a piece of advice, and I know this might sound weird." And he's been married for a while, so like I kind of took it with, you know, a little bit of respect, but I wasn't like, I was still like, oh, this is my family, this is my house, you know. He said, he's like, don't make sure that you always compromise with your wife. And I was like, compromise? What I gotta compromise about? Like, whatever I say goes, you know. And like I had that mentality. You know, that like I was a final say, no matter what anybody else says, like we're going to do what I say. And as we started growing in our marriage, you know, I realized how much wisdom was behind what he said. Because, man, if you don't care to compromise, your marriage is probably going to go south pretty quickly. And I had to quickly learn through fights, through disagreements, through me not being at home, you know, for days on end, you know, because it was just mad or thought that it was supposed to go my way or the highway. And, you know, and so that's something that I always hold on to now is, you know, making sure that I have that heart to compromise with my wife. It's not only my decision. We're a couple, you know, we're together. And so we need to make decisions together. You know, obviously, biblically, you know, like
the buck will stop with you.
Yeah, right, exactly, and that's where my knowledge and understanding started to grow, and the more I realized that, exactly that, the more respect I had for my wife's opinion.
And I think people get super nuts about what I just said too.
Yeah.
You know, because they don't understand, I guess, the biblical perspective.
Right.
Like, oh, women are supposed to submit. Well, yeah, that's what the Bible says, for wives, submit unto your husbands. But it also says for the husband to basically crucify himself for his wife.
Lay down his life,
so
just like Christ.
Before you think like it's an easy job for the man, like, and this is where I think as us men, we have to man up.
Yeah.
We have to be willing to lay our lives down on a daily basis for our wives, and that's not an easy task.
Right.
Yep.
And I don't think that I have to repent all the time. I'm not living up to that standard. And, you know, God, you will be judged as a man for how you led your household. You are the priest of the home. You are the leader of the home. Doesn't mean that you don't talk with your wife about decisions.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you don't come to an agreement together.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, if there's a decision that has to be made, God is entrusting the man to make that final decision, and people don't like to hear that.
Yeah.
That upsets people.
I think the idea of manning up, right, within our society or community or whatever have you, it's so different, right, from what it really is. Like how I felt, like I gotta man up, you know what I mean? Like I gotta be the man, like and to a certain extent I need to be, you know. But
it's a fearful thing to be a man, to not a fearful like I'm like you know, like a spirit of fear, but like before the Lord, I have to fear God enough to know that for my family, the responsibility, I will stand before God for my family on how I led this household. So every decision is not just some flippant thing that I just go through. And that is very challenging. And I think for some women, especially, you know, over the last few decades where, you know, the feminist movement has come into really the church and to all of society that made, you know, it's not to diminish a woman, to make her feel like she's a piece of trash and that she has no brain in her skull or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that. But God has a plan, and either you're going to follow it or you're not. And I think that people don't allow themselves to walk in that, the fullness of what the scripture says. You're just taking these little snippets and you're not seeing the full picture. And, you know, as a man, I'm not looking to be a dictator for my wife.
Right.
I'm not looking to just, hey, no, you shut up and sit over there, and what I say goes, like you're just describing. I'm like, babe, hey, let's pray and let's get a godly decision on this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's been times, where we all have come maybe to a place where we can't come to a solid decision together. And those are not easy, light decisions to make, and at some point, the Lord is entrusting you as the man of the household to make the best decision that you feel. Obviously, having talked to your wife and knowing the family dynamics and the season of life that you're in, and to have the peace of God in that. And so that's good advice from
uncle.
Got to bend a little bit.
Yeah.
Bend a little bit and not be so like absolute.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, good word last night, Pastor Jireh.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Gotta bend, man. And one thing I brought up last night too that kind of really took people by surprise is you gotta have some parameters for when you do fight.
Oh, fighting fair, bro.
Fighting fair. And
You gotta fight
not
fair.
hitting below the belt. And some of the points I brought up was my wife and I had to sit down and talk about what even words and actions I cannot do. Or like that will cause her to stonewall or shut me out, and not because the goal is to find alignment and to be in agreement
right.
and like to learn and hear each other out. It's not to win, it's not to come out on top or prove who is right or wrong. And some of the like things we discuss is like I cannot say the word always. You always do this,
No
or you never do
absolutes.
that. Yeah, no absolutes, and even bring up the past. Like,
Every time you do that, really every time?
Right.
Or 20% of the time? But
Right.
you're saying it's every time, but it's not. It's 20%.
What's hard for couples is like they bring in the past arguments
Right.
instead of what happened
Yes.
now, what happened here,
Right.
and just staying within that and dealing with that.
And it's a vicious circle.
Yeah.
You just keep bringing in past
Yeah.
stuff, and you got to forgive
Yeah,
and try
and-
your best to forget.
And I did this one time when we were dating, and I never did it again because a good friend shared with me the advice is like, don't hit things when you're upset around her.
for sure.
My thought to justify was like, well, it's better for me to hit this instead of hit her. But in the
or
woman's
just be a man of God
right.
and control yourself.
Yeah, in a woman's
Be
mind
self-controlled.
is they think you want to do that to me, which you kind of do. Like, let's be honest. Like you're angry and you're taking it out on this so you don't hurt her. And so
I can't say that I've really ever had that thought, personally. Maybe you guys have, but I've never thought of hitting my wife. Never.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm just saying like subconsciously when people do hit things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna hit my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I've slammed the steering wheel one time when I was upset driving on the car. I slammed the steering wheel for sure.
Yeah.
That was
I think
You get
I'm
into that point.
I'm with you on that too, but it's never was to the point where like that anger was like premeditated or thought about being done to my wife. It was just out of anger
Right.
and wanting to like
you're doing an
express your-
action to
express.
get it out somehow, right? Yeah.
But so it's things like that. I'm not gonna hit things. I'm not gonna throw things. I'm not gonna say these words. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say shut up.
I think the part that Shelby and I, or I'll speak for myself, is that I would degrade her. I would say things about her and how she was, and it would really has nothing to do with the objective of solving a disagreement.
Right.
You're tearing the person down, and to me, that's
Yeah.
not fighting. I was not fighting fair. I had to learn to fight fair,
Right.
which is to keep the topic at hand and
Yeah.
not, bring in, like you said, the past things and just recycling through that and just weaponizing those things towards
man.
the current argument is weaponized by the past, And that's not love. That's
Yeah,
not
not
love.
at
You're
all.
bringing you know what I mean? Love covers a multitude of sins. It does not bring up past wrong. It's
Yep.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was my big, I think, and maybe I'm still learning to do that, and is not to, degrade my wife in the midst of my anger, but to solve the problem at hand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something you touched on last night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, we even got to the point where and I got warm and shared like we went to marriage counseling.
Yeah.
Because we had to work on communication issues.
Yeah.
And through that we learned so much, and that season of my wife's life I didn't realize like she was in like she was grieving.
Yeah.
She was grieving.
The
And
loss of her grandmother.
a lot of
Or just a lot of
a lot of things.
Yeah.
My wife's been through
A lot. Yeah.
a lot,
Right.
and things are just surfacing and things causing the trigger. And but it was good that we were counseling because she never knows she was grieving. Because I'm just like, man, like, wow. Because normally, like, when she argues, it was like, she's a strong woman, like,
Right.
oh, firecracker.
Yeah.
But it was just, man, it was just something different. I could see mentally. I'm like, mentally, I could see, man, there's something broken in there. And she even said something's not right. And I'm like, whoa, and my heart sunk because, man, it's hard to watch my wife go through some stuff because you feel like as a husband you want to help and you want to solve.
Helpless. You feel.
You feel like you feel helpless. You feel powerless. Like
Yeah.
and I was so thankful for the ministry that's set up at our church to help people go through and sort through things through our care ministry through counseling. And man, it was a huge blessing because they also taught us how to fight fair. One thing my wife really learned was that it was okay for us to take like timeouts to cool down. And like psychologically
Yeah, that's tough for me. So it's tough for your wife.
yeah, it's tough for her
'Cause I
because she just want to hash
let's
it out.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But like for me, like I gotta cool down. My emotions are they're too up here. I'm too in my head. I need to cool it so I can actually have a real conversation and think kind of more clear.
You know what comes to mind is this is maybe vulnerable, but like, sometimes we get in that argument and my wife needs a cool down or whatever, but she doesn't, hey, we're gonna pause this. She's like, no, I'm done. Like, no, we are not done.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
and another thing is nobody sleeps on the couch in my house. There ain't no doggy, what do you call it? Dog house.
Doghouse.
Going to the
such
dog
thing.
house. There's no dog house in my. Listen, we've tried. Both her and I go on the couch, and she's like, "You get your rear end back in here," and I got my rear end back in there, and the same thing for her. You are not sleeping on the couch. You're not doing that because what you're doing is you're practicing separation. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
That's very different than when you get older in life. You're living in sleeping in two different rooms because the other guy snores or whatever.
Yeah.
That's very different
Right.
than you choosing to leave the marriage room because you're upset.
Right.
So that now our marriage is not good or it's not whole because we're upset with each other. Is that what you're saying?
Good.
So for us, we I don't know if you guys do, but I'm just saying what we do is we don't allow that. And that's really hard to make that mature choice when you are irate.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, that's why it's good to have those conversations beforehand.
That's exactly right.
At Gen
Yes.
Korean barbecue and everyone's having a good time. All right, yeah.
Listen, bro.
Okay.
Man, you better know your wife's cycle
Yeah.
because that matters. Where your wife is in her cycle.
Oh yeah.
Because certain days out of the month are not a good time to cast vision and make argument decisions.
I had a conversation in the wrong time a couple weeks ago.
Was that 2 or 3 days before the start?
I was during.
What's today's date? Oh,
Where are you again?
Yeah.
beginning of the month.
Wait till day 7 or something.
Well, to go back to the taking a break. So, asking for a break, it was hard for her. But what we learned was, if you're gonna say you need a break, always set a time when you're gonna come back. Don't just break
There
and
you
walk
go.
away.
That's good. I like
Set
that.
a time.
good.
So I'm like, okay,
I like that.
30.
Yeah,
just
that
give
is
me a break and let's 15 minutes. Let's talk again. Just
That's good.
let me cool down. But
That's good. That
you,
helps
you
the
have
other
to.
person.
Yes.
That
You
helps.
have to. So they don't think like you're leaving the
yeah,
conversation or it's
exactly.
ended. You have to set a time. And for me, when I do set a time, it's minimum 20 minutes because I was talking to one of our pastors, Pastor Heather Frigoli, and she said like your anatomy and like psychologically, it takes about 20 minutes for your heart rate to calm down.
Interesting.
And for like like for you to really just be able to get kind of back.
Yeah, she has like a degree, man.
Yeah.
I realize
Oh, yeah.
She's actually very
Oh, for sure.
She's anointed.
awesome.
Not only that, but she also has a great education.
So after my wife heard that from her, who's one of her best friends, and the counselor, they're like, okay, she's more aware that it's a wise decision than to just keep kind of a conversation, and no one's level-headed at this point.
Yeah, I remember there was a time in our relationship that we never did that, right? Like we never, like we would be fighting and then their kid would need something, right? Like, and then we're just like, when are we going to talk about this, you know? But scheduling that is, that's very wise, right? That you need to put that someplace on the docket or else.
And that reminds
It'll
me of
go.
not arguing in front of your kids.
For sure.
Man.
Yeah.
Dude, that's another dynamic, man.
That's
Because
different-
you got to get in the other
different,
room because they don't need to hear all that. They don't need to hear that because they'll be defiled by all that, and they don't need that stress in their life.
I seen a video of this one guy. He talks about he's a dad, and he puts his kids in the room one by one, and he asks them if there's one thing that, you know, like dad could do different or that me and mom could do different. Every single one of his kids said, not
argue
in front of you, not like to not yell. All of his kids, his 6 different kids that came into the room that said the exact same thing.
Wow. Dude,
And
that's
so,
dagger, bro.
yeah, exactly.
And
And
hopefully
that's-
that motivates change. You
right.
know?
And I
Lord
seen that
help
and I
us.
was like, you know,
Oh, Jesus.
that really, really makes a big impact. On
But it's part of
kids.
why, like, man, I don't want to live with my parents or in-laws or like, so I
That's
can
an
have
aspect,
that.
man.
Yeah.
Some people don't have the luxury of not
Yeah,
living with
true.
their parents, so you definitely got to go argue in the car then,
Yep.
because nobody
Right.
should be
Go out.
hearing that stuff.
Yep.
Nobody should be hearing that stuff.
I don't want to hear my neighbors. What I do?
No, I don't either. You know, and kind of in Hawaii, you know, not everybody has air conditioning, so the windows are open.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
So people,
Bro, I'm like, you know,
People-
you can't even get upset and freedom in your own house sometimes.
Exactly.
So you, like,
hearing the scraps.
You know, and nobody wants to hear that, but you know, obviously we have disagreements, so we have to work it out, and it's
Got
not
it.
healthy just to, like you said last night, sweep it under the rug and just, you know, pretend like it didn't happen, and then you're bitter for 15 days, and then
Man,
you know, that's terrible.
Yeah.
So you
act
gotta
like it
resolve
never
it.
happened. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a good time.
Yes,
Great
sir.
time.
I'm happy to be back with hanging out with you guys.
Season 2.
Season 2.
We'll catch you on the
Here
next
we
one,
go.
guys. God bless you.
Yes, sir.